Tekking excessive hype tumble! Yeehaw, ladies and gentlemen! Looks like we have ourselves a good old-fashioned Straw Hat Kaido Big Mom Orochi battle jamboree on Muffin Mountain! Check this out right here! It's a list of all the people and who they're gonna fight, according to me, in this arc! I have not slept in 37 and a half hours! Are you ready for this, Barry? Okay, buddy! See you later! Pick me up some NyQuil when you're at the store! Okay! I hope you understand that the previous intro was merely just an act, for I am a professional trained actor. No, I've gotten quite a bit of sleep last night. I'm actually recording this fairly early in the morning right now. For me, I wake up like at 9, but it's 10. Okay, so, this is a big one. This is a lot of stuff to unpack with this video. I'm gonna try to breeze through this as efficiently as possible, but you know me, so I'll probably end up getting into a tangent about giant metal crabs or jellyfish or the moon at some point in this video. But right, let's start off by just giving a brief overview though of all of the enemies that the rebellion is going to face off against. Okay, so we have 3 main camps here. We got Kaido, we got Orochi, and we got Big Mom. These are the commanding officers of each of these forces. Kaido commands the Beast Pirates, Orochi commands the Elite Ninja and Samurai of Wano, and then you have Big Mom commanding the Big Mom Pirates, her children, and the Sweet Commanders, okay? On Kaido's side of things, we have the Waiters, we have the Pleasures, we have the Gifters, we have the Headliners, we have the Tobiropo, and we have the All-Stars, or the Calamities. Oh, and the numbers. I almost forgot about the numbers there. Throw the numbers in there as well. On Orochi's side of things, we have the Oniwa Banshu, the 11 Elite Ninja, led by Fuku Rokuju, and then we have the Mimawari Gumi, which are the Elite Samurai working under Orochi. Also, I threw in some assassins as well, just because, like, when Kamazo, you know, when Killer was, you know, turned into Kamazo, you know, when he ate the smile fruit or whatever, he became, I guess, essentially Killer became a pleasure, but he was working under Orochi, and he was more of like a hired mercenary or an assassin that they made him go around the flower capital and after certain targets, right? So it stands to reason that I'm sure Orochi has a bunch of other people under his thumb that aren't just, like, the elites of the elite, because, like, these are my elite ninja, here are my elite samurai, but Orochi rules all of Wano, and all of the flower capital specifically, so I figured he would probably have a few other mercenaries, assassins, people he would call upon, you know, to help him out whenever he needed somebody eliminated. He wouldn't call the best of the best of the best for every single situation, you know what I mean? So if I just threw random assassins on the chart, you know, the reference table, we're bringing back the reference table. The assassins or the mercenaries, they might also be part of the Fire Festival procession, who knows? And then we have Big Mom, we have her children, just her regular children, that have no real particular rank in the crew, and I think there was around 15 or more of those. You know, there's the ones that we saw when she was arriving in Wano, which are like around 15, but there might have been more under the deck of the Queen Mama Shanter. We don't really have a full list of every single member of the Big Mom family that came to Wano, and she's got like 80-something kids, so there might be more than just the 15. And then we have one Sweet Commander, Smoothie, who, well, okay, maybe 2 Sweet Commanders if you include Snack. Snack is a previous Sweet Commander, but keep in mind, you know, Snack got the position taken away from him, but that doesn't necessarily mean he got weaker. It just means he no longer has the position, but he did have the strength to reach that position at one point, so keep that in mind. But the only official Sweet Commander we have is Smoothie. Yeah, that's basically what we're working with right now. A lot of it. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, on the Rebellion side of things, I didn't make a fancy reference table for them, but we got the Straw Hat Pirates, the Kid Pirates, the Heart Pirates, we got the Samurai led by Hyorogoro, we got the 4 Yakuza bosses, we got the 9 Red Scabbards, then we got the Minks, we got the 3 Musketeers, you know, Sicilian, Consulate, and Giovanni that lead up the Musketeer squad. We also got the Forest Guardians that are part of Nekomamushi's group that should be arriving soon, but then we got like Carrot and Wanda. And then we got like some people that are probably going to do stuff that are going to show up, but we don't really know yet, like where their allegiances lie, like Hawkins. Hawkins, last time we saw him, yeah, he worked under Kaido, but then he got the crap beat out of him in the prison, and then it's just like, we don't know what Hawkins is going to do. It's like whatever the tarot cards point him to do. If the tarot cards tell him to stay the course and stay on Kaido's side of things, then he's gonna do that. If the cards tell him to turn sides and work traitor and you know, help out Law and Luffy and Kid to defeat Kaido, he'll do that. If the tarot cards tell him, you know, you have a pretty good shot of just leaving the country, of just like chance of escape is 87% right now, just take it and and leave. He might just do that. Then we have Drake, who's a member of the Tobiropo, but is also a secret member of Sword. So whether or not he's going to work with the rebellion, or if he's just going to go do his own thing and try to eliminate Kaido, we don't know what he's going to do yet. Then we have Izo. Izo is from Wano. He's Okiku's sister, and he used to be one of the scabbards under Odin. We have no idea where Izo's at right now. We have no idea. He might be on Wano undercover, but why hasn't he shown himself yet? He might be somewhere else in the world. Nekomamushi might be going to get him. Who knows? Maybe Marco was telling Nekomamushi, oh, by the way, if you're going to Wano, make sure to bring Izo with you. He could definitely help you out. Last time I heard he was over here. Maybe. I don't know. And then we have the Marines, Blackbeard, and the Cypher Pole. just Zero. We know the Zero operates in Wano, so they could still be around, wandering around, and Drake saw them around, and he was relaying that information to Kobe. But as for, like, the Marines in full, like, breath, like, like the Marine battleships arriving, that could happen, and Blackbeard, he knows what stuff's going on in Wano right now, so he could pop up. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. At the end of the day, Robin surmised this as Kaido's forces equaling out to around 20,000 strong, and Orochi's forces equaling out to 10,000 strong. Those are the 10,000 forces, the enemies that he's bringing to Onigashima for the Fire Festival. So that equals about 30,000. Plus, you got to tack on a couple extra dozen for Big Mom, plus her children. But yeah, around 30,000. And the rebellion is only at around 5,400 right now, with the added samurai that Denjiro brought. Also, keep in mind that I'm going to be using the phrase keep in mind quite a bit in this video, but keep in mind that those numbers, how big they are, don't pay too much attention to those, because those numbers, like, as soon as the fighting starts, both of those numbers are going to start to dwindle down. You got to figure the bulk of these forces, the bulk of that 20,000 that Kaido boasts, are probably going to be waiters and pleasures. They're going to be foot soldiers, essentially. Same thing with the samurai, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, we've seen some of the samurai that Oda's put a lot of detail into their designs and stuff. But at the end of the day, most of them are probably just ordinary, maybe not even really samurai, maybe, that are trained in the art. They might just be peasants or people from Wano that are like, we're going to fight back. We're going to take our country. We're going to fight alongside you, samurai. They might have just, like, here, have a sword from the Ringo graveyard. I don't really know how to use this, but we're going to do it anyway. Charge forth. In fact, that number might have already been diminished. That 5,400 might have already been cut down when Kanjuro did his needle rain thing. Like, can you imagine being the poor bastard that's, like, on the ship? He's like, finally, after 20 years, we will liberate our country and our home. And then Kanjuro's like, ink rain no jutsu. Hey, what? Needles in the eye! Oh, God, no! It's like, well, Dave took needles in the eye. Looks like he's not going to be helping us fight. So we might have already had some of our first casualties of this battle. And the fighting is going to get started. So, yeah, the waiters and the pleasures for Kaido's side of things. And the 10,000 enemies that Orochi brought, they might not all be fighters. A lot of them might be just, like, maids or other servants that are, like, helping Orochi just be super comfy. So keep that in mind there. So, just really quick, I wanted to go through the Beast Pirates, okay? Because a few things I noticed with them, like in their hierarchies, okay? So we got the waiters, which are just like the entry-level position. I would imagine when you first join up with Kaido's crew, you get the title of waiter. All right, you're just a regular dude. You might be really strong, but you got nothing special to speak of. You don't have a devil fruit. You don't really have good hockey. You don't have a smile yet. It's just like, all right, you're a waiter, okay? Then you get the pleasures, which are the ones that gambled with the smiles, and they were the 9 out of 10 that failed, and all they have to show for it are not smile devil fruit powers, but devil fruit weaknesses. They still cannot swim, and they're forced to laugh and smile and be merry and cheery for the rest of their lives, okay? They might have a higher rank than the waiters, like maybe that's like a consultation, like, well, you failed the smile test, and now you're stuck like a laughing, gibbering idiot the rest of your life. But we'll give you, like, some extra status. You can boss the waiters around now. At least you have a higher rank. But if you actually think about it, there's really no difference in terms of combat ability from the waiters to the pleasures. In fact, the pleasures are actually weaker than the waiters when you actually think about it, because for one thing, they're weak to water or liquid that, like, it can be defeated by any sort of liquid that comes up higher than your waist. You could just push them in the water and they'd be like, and they get severely paralyzed because because they're devil fruit. They're not devil fruit users, but they have the weaknesses. So that's a downside. And also, I'm just gonna say it. You know, if you spend your whole life laughing and like, that kind of takes away the element of surprise in a battle situation. That kind of takes away the element of stealth. You know, it's just like you're walking through Onigashima and you're like, oh, hey, I thought I heard something. Yeah, be careful. There's enemies around every. Yeah, never mind. They're right over there. I can hear them laughing. I can hear the pleasures a mile away. There might be a utility for that. That might be kind of useful. Like, let's say if you're, like, charging a hill, and at the top of the hill, the pleasures arrive, and they start riding down the hill on horses, all laughing like freaking lunatics, like, we will baste our swords with their blood! You know, like, if you hear, like, hundreds, thousands of pleasures running down the hill, like, all screaming and laughing bloody murder, that might be rather intimidating. That'd be like, but that's not really what we're doing right now, and at the end of the day, that kind of takes away some stealth. So, yeah, I'm actually going to argue waiters and pleasures, they're about the same in terms of power level. I would figure there's probably more waiters than pleasures on the crew, maybe like a few thousand waiters that joined up, and then the pleasures are maybe numbering a few hundreds, maybe like around 1,000 at their height, maybe something like that. Then we have the gifters, the 1 out of 10 that did succeed with the devil fruits. They obviously are a lot stronger because they got the physical power of, you know, animals working for them now. I originally wrote down, like, maybe a few dozen gifters, but also keep in mind, Kaido is the, 100 beasts. You know, that's, like, part of his title, right? The master of 100 beasts. So there are headliners that are also the elite gifters, but then the gifters themselves, we only seen, like, a couple of those by far. I think we've only seen, like, 12 or so gifters by far. Not very many, as much as you might think. So I'm going to assume that there might be around, like, 80 gifters, and then, like, add 20 headliners on top of that they're the elite. And then you get like 100 plus some of the other members that can turn into animals, But yeah, the gifters are pretty strong in their own right. Not necessarily physically strong because it depends on the animal you get. Like, obviously, Gazelle Man and Speed have the power of, like, animals that run really fast. Speed is a horse, Gazelle Man is a gazelle. So, their prime thing is running really fast. And then you have Batman, whose power is to be Batman, but also he can fly. And you saw the other ones like that, like Butterfly Girl, Hawkman, because that's probably what their names are. They can fly, so that's their advantage there when they're gifters, right? But yeah, so they're the gifters, pretty strong. And then you get the headliners, which I think we've only seen about 12 or so of the headliners so far. They are stated to be the elite gifters. The sole exception with this is Hawkins, because Hawkins came in from outside of Wano, and he does have a devil fruit. He has the straw fruit, but that's not a zone, that's a paramecia, and he was probably just made headliner because he has the skills to pay the bills. But it's like, it's all right. You might throw off the dynamic, but hey, you could turn into a giant straw man, so that's something, I guess, right? So we'll make you a headliner. But yeah, the headliners, like, Luffy immediately, you have to understand, as soon as Luffy got to Wano, he beat the crap out of a headliner, Hold'em. So they're probably not that much, they're not like a threat to, like, the heavy hitters here on the crew. They're not a threat to Kid, they're not a threat to Law or Luffy, but they're still really strong, and they're like middle management. They're the ones that probably command all the gifters, pleasures, and waiters underneath them, right? Then you have the Tobiropo that are the elites of the headliners, but the Tobiropo do not have smiles, they have ancient zones. I would imagine that every time Kaido's crew finds an ancient dragon fruit, which they have several, they immediately give it to somebody that's like, okay, you are now a member of the Tobiropo, because we found there's only so many of these ancient dragon dinosaur zones out there in the world. You get one, you become one. That's probably why Drake rose to such prominence as fast as he did. It's like, he already had an ancient dragon zone. I'm like, all right, we're good. And I did a whole video on the Tobiropo yesterday. The Tobiropo number 6, and also if one of the calamities, if one of the All-Stars were to die, or the position were to happen to be empty for some reason, one of the Tobiropo will be promoted to that status, as we learned in the last chapter. Then we get the calamities, the All-Stars themselves, they number 3. We got Jack, Queen, and King. Pretty badass, pretty strong. They all have ancient zones. Jack's a mammoth, Queen's a brachiosaur, and King is a pteranodon. Pretty impressive there. Then you get the numbers that are giant monsters that might be ancient giants. We're not really sure. There's quite a few of those. We saw, like, there's around 8 in that one panel. There could be more, but we see that there's 8 there. Then we have Kaido himself. Yeah, so that's all the levels that we're dealing with. There might be an ace, there might be another category there that we just have never seen before. That might be Kaido's son. Maybe Kaido's son is dead and the position is vacant, or he's still alive, or what's up with him. Don't know, but that's what we have working right now with Kaido's crew. All right, so now let's finally get to the list. What's that, like 15, 16 minutes into the video? Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down this list, alright? And I'll stop and pause whenever I need to mention things, but here we go. Luffy. Who's Luffy gonna fight? I wrote down Kaido. Same thing with Kid, same thing with Law. Their primary focus is going to be taking down Kaido. They are the captains of their respective crews. I think everybody also understands, like, okay, they're gonna be the ones that have the best shot at taking down Kaido. We probably don't have that skill, so they can go at it. I also wrote down Zoro and Killer. Something to keep in mind, that this list doesn't just include, like, one opponent for everybody. I basically wrote down everybody I could see that person fighting next to their name, okay? So for Zoro, I wrote down Kaido, King, and Orochi, because I could see Zoro clashing with all of them at some point. Not necessarily he is going to, but I could see that. Then, next to Luffy, Kid, and Law, I also wrote down the numbers. Because you figure, alright, I don't know what Oda's gonna do with these guys, because so far, from what we understand, they're just these really, not very intelligent, just kind of like, you know, lumbering doofuses, giant, ancient giants, you know, they're like huge, and they're like, and they drink a lot, that's all we got. There might be more than 8, but so far we just got 8, okay? So what I'm saying here is that some of these numbers might be used as fodder for, like, like Luffy and Kid and Law. I could see that. I could see Luffy, Kid, and Law, like, charging toward, like, Kaido's throne room, like, Kaido! I'm gonna kick your ass! Like, oh, Straw Hat, I'm gonna kick his ass! No, I'm gonna kick his ass! And then these, like, 3 numbers pop out of, like, Law is like, oh god, you idiots! And then these numbers pop out of nowhere, like, roo! And then Luffy, Kid, and Law are like, get out of our way! Bam! Bam! Shambles! Counter shock! And then just drop them. And you could have 3 of the numbers getting taken out right then and there. You still have 5 giant monsters wandering around that can fight other people, right? So what I'm saying is, like, the numbers might be utilized just to show how strong that, like, Luffy and company are. You have Zoro slice one up, fine. You have Killer hack one up, fine. You still have a bunch more that could pop up and, like, give a serious fight to other crewmates and other members of the rebellion, right? So I think some of the numbers are going to be disposed of that way. Zoro, Kaido, King, and Orochi. Kaido, obviously, I can see him because he has the Enma. I think he has to fight Kaido for that reason. You got King because, like I said, that whole dynamic. And then you got Orochi. After hearing Hiyori's story and everything about what Orochi did to Odin and everything, you know, Zoro himself said, you know, like, I want to be the one to cut down Orochi. And then Hiyori's like, well, I should be the one to do that. He's like, so, a lot of people want to kill Orochi. A lot of people have the right to slice down at least one of Orochi's heads. But yeah, that's included on there. Nami, okay. I wrote down Big Mom, and that's not because I think, like Nami is sitting on the sunny right now being like, yeah, Big Mom, yeah, come get a taste of this, my rod, you know, nothing like that, but she has Zeus, so not like she is gonna go after Big Mom Mom's gonna be coming after her. Because she has Zeus, and Zeus is living in her climate act right now. I don't know, I guess Big Mom, because Zeus is her homie, she would, like, from her own soul, Big Mom would probably have, like, a homing instinct of exactly, like, in the general region of where Zeus is. So, yeah, she's gonna be stomping down toward Nami, and I don't know how that's gonna go, you know, but that encounter is definitely gonna happen. I also wrote down, some of the Oniwabanshu with Shinobu. You gotta figure, with all the people we have working with right now, and all the enemies happening right now, some of these fights, and probably a lot of these fights, are gonna be doubled or tripled up. Like, we're gonna have tag battles with a lot of characters here, so I wrote that all down too, so keep in mind. So I wrote down Ulti just because she's a female member of the Tobiropo, and she's sexy, and Nami is sexy, so of course. But also I wrote down the Oniwabanshu with Shinobu, because they've been, like, kunoichi, like, gal pals the entire arc, you know, they've been helping out each other, so I could see them teaming up together to fight some of the Oniwabanshu. Usopp, I can only think of, like, I want to see Usopp tag battle with Frankie with Queen. And I want to see maybe even Usopp getting the finishing blow on a Calamity. That would be great. I would love that. And Queen's all into like the biker mechanics, engineering kind of stuff. So you could see why Frankie would get involved, but also Usopp's into that kind of stuff too. So I could see them working together and fighting against Queen. I also write down for Frankie. Frankie busts out the Iron Pirate, Frankie Shogun, and just goes up against one of the numbers, and it's just like, giant laser cannon, Frankie, super, boom, and one of the numbers just gets a giant hole blasted through them and just, once again, and let's say that, Luffy, Kid, and Law all take out one of the numbers, and Frankie just one-shots another one. We still have 4 giant monsters lumbering around, so we can still have cool stuff with that. Yeah, that's all I had for Usopp, though. I felt really bad, because I gave everybody else another opponent except Usopp. Usopp's like, I could see him fighting Queen, and anybody else, like, random fodder, sure. Like, I didn't go bother to write down, like, all of these people are gonna fight against some of the waiters. Like, Luffy's gonna be running and be like, some of the waiters and the pleasures pop out, like, Straw Hat, we're not gonna let you get close to our master. Luffy's just, Gumu Gumu no whip, and just, get out of my way, freaking piss ants. It keeps on moving. So that's gonna happen with pretty much everybody, but I didn't write that down for every single one. Anyway, well, who's next? Sanji. Sanji, I think, needs to have a rematch with Page 1, but also now that we know Ulti might also be part of, she's also part of the Tobiropo, but also be his sister. It's implied to be anyway. I could see Page 1 and Ulti teaming up against Sanji, and then so Sanji starts fighting Page 1, and then Ulti shows up like, hey, don't be beating up my little brother. If you beat up my little brother, you beat up me, too. So, like, Sanji floors Page 1, and it's a bit of a fight, but not that big of a fight. It's not that, it's like he's in his raid suit. It gives a little bit of effort. Like, Sanji's sweating a little bit after his fight with Page 1, but it's not a big deal. Then Ulti shows up, and it's like, oh, you're way stronger. That would be cool. Chopper, because Chopper has Monster Point, I put down numbers. I also put the Oniwabanshu because Chopper's a ninja, and he's been the whole arc. He's like, I want to be a ninja. I'm like, all right, well, you want to be a ninja, Chopper? Pick him up and just throw him toward the ninja. You fight Hanzo. Here you go. It's like, here you go. Also Queen. Maybe Chopper, actually, you know what? Maybe Chopper and Usopp could fight Queen, because they had that whole thing at, like, Alabasta when they teamed up against Mr. Four and Miss Merry Christmas. Groundhog Day. But I could see that, because Chopper, of course, is the Doctor, and then Queen is the Plague and everything like that. So, yeah, alright, I'm gonna include that in there. Queen and Chopper maybe team up against Queen, too. Don't know how you would include Frankie, but, yeah, these are just me spitballing. Robin, I'm pretty much dead set on Robin just fighting Black Maria. I didn't even write down anybody else, because Black Maria is this giant woman, and Robin has the ability to become a giant woman, which I don't think we've seen her do that yet, but given the powers that we know she has, she could do that. Because she can make her, mille fleur, she can make giant legs, giant arms, she can clone herself, take those two things together, and what do you get? You get Giant Robin. Yes! 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 Yes, Senku! Yes! That's what you get. Yes, Joker. Yes, you get Giant Robin. Like Black Maria comes rocking out of nowhere, and then Robin is there and just like, and then creates a giant version of herself, and then we have a, Giant Robin against Black Maria giant fight. Yep. Brooke. I want to see Brooke fight against Apu. I forgot to mention Apu last time in the review, but Apu's there. He's actually DJing for Queen's little number, of course. But, yeah, Brooke is the musician. Apu is, he has music powers. Well, Brooke has music powers as well. Apu has his music fruit. We don't know the name of it yet. But yeah, I want to see those two clash there. I also want to see maybe Brooke fight against, he's the other person, like maybe Black Maria, because like, oh, can I see your panties? And I don't think we've ever seen Brooke and Robin team up for a fight before, so that'd be pretty cool to see them team up. But yeah, I want to see Brooke fight Apu there. And then Jinbei, originally I wanted Jinbei to fight Smoothie, and I still do, so I wrote Smoothie down there, because, he talked a lot about her, he knows a lot about her abilities, so it would make sense for them to fight. But also now that we know Sasaki, and the way he looks, he might be efficient or he might not be, but he looks very similar to Jinbei, with he's got the Yakuza feel, the boss feel, he's got the tats, he's got the cloak and everything, so I'm thinking, yeah, I could see Sasaki fight against Jinbei. Kid, I wrote down Kaido in the numbers like earlier. Killer, I wrote down Orochi, Kaido, and King. I might even, how would you guys feel about Killer and Zoro teaming up to fight King? That would be cool. I think like this is going to be the arc more than anything where Oda is really going to play with those tag battles because you kind of have to with all these enemies. Like this, imagine how long this would take if it was a one-on-one battle for every single character. And every single one-on-one battle had to mean something. You know, like you could have Zoro fight one-on-one against King and then oh yeah, Killer fights one-on-one against a headliner. Like it'd be cooler, I think, to have Killer and Zoro team up to fight the same opponent. It'd be cooler to have Law, Kid, and Luffy team up to fight Kaido. That's what I think. So I'm gonna go with that. Wire and Heat. Wire and Heat are the only other members of the Kid crew that we know about. That are named. I mean, Wire being the hooded guy that has like the the pitchfork. He's like the Satan worshiper. And then you have Heat, who's like the stitched up zombie dude that can breathe fire. I just wrote down headliners for them. They can deal with headliner detail along with the rest of the Heart Pirates. So Saachi and Penguin and Beppo. Guess what, guys? You're fighting against headliners in this war. Don't like it? Well, too bad, because that's what you gotta do, alright? Because there's gonna be a lot of headliners running around, and I think, you know what, considering how we've seen, like, Brooke fight against Sheepshed, when they were at Zou, Brooke was clashing with Sheepshed, and it honestly seemed like Brooke had the upper hand here. It seemed like if that fight would have continued, Brooke would have easily defeated Sheepshed, with, like, not like an easy fight, but it wouldn't have caused him, like, much. It wouldn't have been, like, a battle to, like, to the death or anything. It would have been, like, it seemed like Brooke could have won. So, understanding the kind of power scaling of headliners, and I understand that's probably, like, each headliner depends on what their animal is. They might be stronger or weaker, obviously. But, yeah, the rest of Kid's crew, headliners. Rest of Law's crew, like Jean Bart and Beppo and Saachi and Penguin, you guys are going to have to fight against headliners this time around. You're going to have to go toward it, and some other gifters maybe as well. Saachi and Penguin are always kind of like the background characters of the Heart Pirates. I kind of want to see them in a real fight, with Beppo included. I want to see Saachi and Penguin, because they're like Law's closest friends. They might be like his first mates, first and second mate, plus Beppo is the navigator of the crew. And then Sean Bart is, like the freed slave that they met at Saboti. There's other members of the Heart crew. There's like 20 members total. There's even some women on Law's crew, and Panda Man as well. Panda Man's also part of Law's crew, in case you didn't know. But yeah, I want to see Saachi and Penguin team up and actually, like, we're not just background characters. We're not just the Yamchas of the pirate world. We actually have some really cool team up attacks that we can do. Like, that would be cool to see them fight against, like, a headliner or a gifter or somebody. Then we get the Yakuza. Then we get, like, okay, who the Yakuza is gonna fight. Once again, Hyoro I don't know how much fighting Hyoro was gonna do, because he's a pretty old man, but I just wrote Orochi. Because Hyoro, like, you understand Orochi and Kaido, like, killed his wife? Probably more Orochi is the one that killed his wife. Yeah, he's gonna have a vendetta against that. So I just wrote Hyoro fighting Orochi. Like, I could see him, like, Grandpa Hyo, you need to fight it. You need to save your strength for Orochi. We'll clear a path for you. You go on ahead. Something maybe like that. And of course, Hyo would be like, I will stay here and command you, my loyal subjects and stuff like that. But yeah, I think Hyoro is going to have some choice words to say to Orochi. I would love to see them interact. There's so many characters I would love to see interact with Orochi, and I have just no idea, how it's all going to be fit in, but that needs to happen. Then we got the 4 Yakuza bosses. We got Omasa from the Hakumai region, Sunagoro, the broken hat dude from Udon, Cho, the sexy butterfly Yakuza boss from Ringo, and then we got Yatape from Kibi. For them, I all wrote down, like, headliners, gifters for each and every one. Because, once again, we got to fill out those headliner quotients. I think there are about, like, 20 of them. I don't know if quotient was the right word to use there, but I'm going with it. I think that's a dividing term, but whatever, we're going with it. Headliners and gifters for those guys. Then we get the scabbards, okay? For Kinemon, I wrote down Kanjuro immediately, because Kanjuro is the traitor. If anybody's going to fight against him, Kanjuro and Kinemon, that has to be the fight. Because Kinemon and Kanjuro, they were the first ones that we met. Like, we met Kinemon and Momo at Punkhauser, and then Kanjuro was the next one right after that at Dressrosa, so we've been with them for a long time. But also, Kinemon fought alongside Kanjuro for a very long time when they were members of Odin's little, group there. And I also wrote down Denjiro, because Denjiro and Kinemon were the first vassals that Odin took in, and then Kanjuro got added later. So Kinemon and Denjiro, I think, would be more pissed off and more enraged at Kanjuro's betrayal than even the other scabbards. All the scabbards would be upset, but I think in particular Kinemon and Denjiro would be the most upset, because they were the first. They were with Odin the longest, and then you betray his memory by doing shit like this, So So I'm thinking that. But also I wrote down Who's Who. Because I'm like, okay, somebody has to fight Who's Who. He's a member of the Tobiropo. He's pretty high ranking. He's got a sword. If Zoro and Killer are going to fight King, also Killer might fight against Who's Who as well. I threw that out here as well. But I thought maybe, hey, Kinemon is the leader of the Scabbards. Kinemon has swords. Maybe he could fight against Who's Who. I also wrote down the captain of the Mimi Waregumi. The Mima Warigumi. I keep saying Mimi, not Mima. Mima Warigumi. Just an idea, like, okay, here's the captain of the elite samurai. Here's Kinemon, captain of Odin's elite samurai, his vassals. I could see that happening, but mainly Kanjuro is what I'm putting my money on there. Kawamatsu. All right, so for Kawamatsu, I wrote down Sasaki tag battle with Jinbei. So let's say if Sasaki is a fishman, then you have Kawamatsu and Jinbei teaming up to fight against Sasaki. That would be pretty cool. And I also wrote the Oniwaban for Kawamatsu. Raizou has to team up with Shinobu and maybe possibly Nami to fight against the Oniwabanshu, because they're all ninjas. That's pretty much there. Also, maybe throw Chopper in there too. Chopper Dono, would you like to fight alongside with us ninjas, to fight actual ninjas? Would I ever? That would be pretty cool. Let's see. Ashura Doji, I want to see him fight Jack again. That'd be neat. But also just, I wrote down actually Who's Who with Keen. Maybe like Kinemon and him could team up and fight against Who's Who. Or maybe Ashura just fights against Who's Who on his own. Ashura can kind of handle a blade, and he's been training for 20 years. He's a pretty strong customer. Inuarashi, and whenever Nekomamushi shows up, I want to see them tag battle because they're cat and dog. They pretty much have to tag battle. But I want to see them tag battle against Jack. That's pretty much something I have set in stone. I'm not really going to change my opinion on that, because Jack's the one that wrecked their home. Jack used the gas weapon that Caesar developed, ripped off Inurashi's leg, Nekomamushi's arm. And more importantly than just their limbs, though, is they wrecked their home, and they, wiped out a big chunk of the Minks. I mean, the Minks survived, but there's probably a few casualties and stuff, and, you don't do that to Zoe. So, I think Neko and Inu teaming up to fight against Jack and killing him, that would be fair. Okiku, I just wrote down the Mimi Waregumi and fight against the elite samurai for Okiku, because Okiku is like, I am a samurai, even, I am a woman at heart, but I'm also a samurai to the bone, or something like that. I could see her fighting actual samurai then in that regard, like the elite samurai. Denjiro, I wrote down the Mimi Waregumi, I did it again, or maybe Kanjuro with Keen. Alright, so then we get to the Minks. The Minks, I'll be honest with you, I'm basically just giving the Minks over to Big Mom's crew. Because Carrot and I think Wanda are going to fight Perospero. Because what Perospero, it was like, Pedro detonated himself to kill Pedro. Pedro detonated himself to kill Pedro. Pedro detonated himself to kill Perospero, and it didn't work. So Carrot, I think Wanda are going to step up to the plate and honor Pedro's memory. And okay, yeah, he tried to do it. We're here to finish the job. Carrot puts on her gauntlets and Wanda takes out her sword, and then they go Sulong, and then just jump Perospero. So I want to see Wanda and Carrot team up together and fight against Perospero. Perospero might be a little bit too much just for Carrot on her own, so I wanted to throw Wanda in there too. In their Sulongs, that would be really badass. And then you have the Musketeers led by Sicilian, and then you have the Guardians that would eventually show up led by Nekomamushi. I'm just giving them over to the rest of the Big Mom family. So Mont d'Or, Galette, Compote, the other members of the Big Mom crew that we didn't really get to see in too much combat, a little bit with Galette and Mont d'Or, but not too much. All the other members like Tablet and, Angel, all the other members of the Big Mom crew that we really don't know that much about. I'm just going to give them over to the Minks. The Minks all show up, they all go Sulong, and they just attack Big Mom's crew. All of the random children, other than Smoothie. Smoothie, I said Jinbei, but maybe the Three Musketeers themselves, like Sicilian, Giovanni, and Consulate, they go up against Snack. They go up against maybe even Compo, because Compo's the first daughter. She might have a lot of power too. Is Amande there? Amande also ranks really high. I don't remember if we saw her. But yeah, all the really stronger members that we know about, maybe leave that to Sicilian and the Three Musketeers, who are the strongest Minks outside of Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. And then you leave them to them. But the other members, like the Guardians, when the Guardians show up, like Rhodey and BB and everybody, just throw them Sulong on the Big Mom crew. I think will be good. And, other than that, I just have some random people written down here, like Hawkins. Hawkins, his allegiances could change, so I really don't know. He could fight Kaido, he could fight against the Rebellion, it depends, or he could just leave. Hawkins might just be you might see that's kind of a cop-out, but hey, if the cards tell him, hey, Hawkins, dude, if you fight on Kaido's side, you have a 50% chance of victory. if you fight again, or it might just be something like 50-50 shot for the Rebellion or for Kaido, but if escape is like 75, it'd be like, screw that, I'm getting out of here, you know? Then we have Izo. I would like to see a tag battle with Izo fighting alongside Kiku, his sister. Makes sense. Don't know who they would fight, though. And, then we have just the waiters' pleasures and the bulk of the gifters. I just like the Samurai Force can just leave them to that. Drake. Obviously, Drake's main target is Kaido as a member of Sword, but he's going to have to fight other people along the way, so he might fight against the Straw Hats. But I don't see the battle lasting so long with that. I don't see the battle lasting to the point where it's like he's going to fight to the death with, like, Zoro or somebody, because he has, like, other goals in mind. So that's Drake. And, other than that, I just wrote down, like, what if the Marines and the Blackbeard Pirates and the CP0 show up, and the SSG, the Special Science group. If that happens, I have no idea. This battle, I've said it before multiple times, I'll say it again here, gonna be a cluster screw. So, yeah, that's everything I have written down here. Like I said, I just wrote down every single person I could see them fighting, but that's not, like, what I actually think is going to happen with every single person. Like, obviously, I don't think Kinemon is going to get 3 separate fights in this entire battle. It's going to be Kanjuro and maybe another fight, and maybe some random fodder, but yeah. But yeah, that's what I have to go on there. Let me know what you guys think of this below, and who do you want to see fight in the battle. It's gonna be intense, guys. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, that's when you actually take the time to sit down and write it all out, then you really notice, like, wow. Oda, I mean, I love Oda for what he's doing here, because this is a lot of work. You know, Oda didn't have to introduce as many people as he did. He didn't have to introduce the Mimawari Gumi. He didn't have to introduce the numbers. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, Orochi also has elite samurai. By the way, Kaido also has giant monsters. By the way, Tobiropo. By the way, headliners. By the way, pleasures. By the way, waiters. By the way, he could have kept it a little bit more, simplistic if he wanted to, but no, like, Oda's like, these are Yonko. They are gonna have huge fighting forces and a bunch of different ranks and tiers. It only makes sense they would be this numerous and this strong. That's why nobody screws with them outside of Luffy, who's crazy enough to, like, let's do this, So yeah, and Kid as well. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to the battle. Thanks for watching, everybody. Tekking, signing out!